It is no secret that our country is experiencing a period of deep division. Right now, it is difficult to see how anything like unity is even possible. But it is critical for all of us to make the effort to try to come together. We can be the change that we want to see. Now, figuring out how we can do it is a big part of our series, Keeping the Faith. I am honored to bring in Father James Martin. He's the editor-at-large of America Magazine and consultant to the Vatican's Office for Communication. His new book, you must read it, titled Work in Progress, Confessions of a Busboy, Dishwasher, Caddy, Usher, Factory Worker, Bank Teller, Corporate Tool, and Priest, is out now. I am so honored that you are here. A lot of people believe that our divisions are only because of what is happening in Washington. But is there something that is missing in our lives, that somehow we can't see the humanity in one another?
Well, it's a big question. I think politics has a lot to do with it. I think it's exacerbated things. I think social media, which I'm on, and, you know, it's kind of a mixed blessing, I think that has something to do with it, people's ability to attack one another. But I think we've lost the ability to give people the benefit of the doubt, which is where I think we really need to start. Is
part of that because we now have people, or maybe we always did, but it's even more pronounced, that we don't even see as equals? We've decided there are members of society that are less than, and we're comfortable with eradicating them.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that we have considered some people as strangers, foreigners, other, right? Almost subhuman.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's okay to hate people again. That's how it feels sometimes.
But how do you get back from that? Once you was like, yep, you're subhuman, you don't count. How do we get back from that? Because immigration is at the heart of this. We're seeing many churches try to solve for it. I don't know where we go, though.
Well, one way, I think, is to come to know people's stories, to come to know immigrants' stories. Pope Francis talked about the culture of encounter, really getting to know people, really meeting people. And, you know, if you can't meet an immigrant, which is hard because they're all over the place, read their stories and try to get to know people who minister to them or work with them.
Strangers are just friends we haven't met yet.
Yeah, and, you know, Jesus says we're supposed to love our neighbor, and that includes people that, you know, might seem different than we are at first blush.
Then why do you think so many people of the Christian faith, why do you think so many people in the evangelical community are okay with this?
I don't know. I mean, the Gospels are pretty clear. Jesus says, when you welcome me, you welcome the stranger, and when you don't welcome me, you don't welcome the stranger. You don't need to have a PhD in New Testament studies to understand this stuff.
I want to turn to your book because you had a very, very different life. I just laid it out before you became a priest. And this book is all about that journey. Why was it important to write it now?
Yeah, I wanted to write a story about how my summer jobs prepared me to become a Jesuit priest, and also tell some funny stories and some life lessons. I think one of the reasons I wrote it is to show that God can be at work, whether you're a busboy, you know, a reporter, a teacher, an attorney, or even a priest, how God is at work through all these experiences that we had in our past.
So you're saying you're just a regular person?
I am definitely a regular person.
The President of the United States, on occasion, watches this show. What would your message be to him?
Gosh, I might say, think about the people that you are demonizing at times, and think about how it feels to be demonized, and come to know them as your brothers and sisters. Come to get to know migrants and refugees in particular. That's what I might say.
Do you have faith that we're going to turn the corner? Where do you find hope right now?
Well, you know, the message of the resurrection, I'm Christian, is nothing is impossible with God. And I think things can change on a dime. And really, it is about trying to come to understand people and understand their stories. That's one reason Jesus taught in stories and in parables. Arguments and debates, I think, sometimes close our minds down. Stories open them up.
And that would be for your message to people who are not Catholic or people who are not of faith at all. The answer is just get to know people?
Get to know people and try to put yourself in their shoes. I used to work with refugees for 2 years in Nairobi, Kenya. And I would often say to people, what would you do? You know, if your family was facing warfare or famine or violence, you would do the same thing. You would try to move somewhere more safe. And I think when you put yourself in people's shoes and see what they're trying to do, you can understand them a little better.
Before I let you go, I do want to ask you about the Super Bowl. Not the game, but Bad Bunny. A lot of conservatives called his halftime show divisive. They called it political. But to me, the most important message of the night was on full display in English at the end of the performance, where it said, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. You have preached this for years. What was your reaction when you saw it? Clearly, we know my reaction.
I was delighted because I thought it distilled that message and that music into one phrase, one easy-to-remember phrase, and he is 100% right.
Is that something that we all have to remember? Because the idea of love is often sort of like weakened or feminized, but it couldn't be more powerful.
Well, the Catholic activist Dorothy Day used to say that love might seem sweet and, gentle, but love in action is really tough. She was quoting Dostoevsky. Love in action, really loving someone and going the extra mile and trying to stand in their shoes is tough. One of my friends, Jim Keenan, who's a Jesuit moral theology professor, said that compassion and love is, I love this, entering into the chaos of another person's life. And that's what we have to do sometimes.